We saw one case where an infant was held up in front of a parent as a shield against a baseball bat. We have seen a young girl who felt that she needed to sleep in her closet on top of a pile of dirty laundry because she's afraid of the people that her father would bring home with him at night. We've seen kids locked out of their home on cold, freezing night because they were bad. We've seen kids who can't wake their parents up to get them to school in the morning, so they miss school because their parents are in a substance abuse or alcoholic stupor. I'm here to tell you that there is no gated neighborhood, there is no community existing around here that we have not seen cases in. So abuse and neglect happens in all sorts of forms, and it happens to all sorts of people. And so just because it's not a pleasant topic of conversation doesn't mean that it's not existing. CASA stands for Court-Appointed Special Advocates. It's often confused with the Spanish term for home, casa, and I always tell people at that point, it really does have a meaning because home is the exact thing that the kids that we're working with are at risk of losing. And so you can relate it. But court-appointed special advocates are really our people. If we talk about a CASA, we're talking about a person. They are the advocate that has been assigned by the judge to advocate for the child in his courtroom.
One of my jobs, among others, is to hear child abuse and neglect cases. And that happens every Thursday, believe it or not. And there are a myriad of cases that the court hears. And one of the people, one of the groups that helps me is the Court-Appointed Special Advocate, or CASA. And they perform a great community service by providing me with a report about what's going on in the family.
A very typical story is one of neglect. We have many cases where we have either a substance abusing parent or substance abusing parents, which can lead to neglectful behavior on the part of the parent. And typically what happens with that sort of case, once it comes to court, parents are ordered to enroll into a substance abuse program, parenting classes, and they are monitored by the court up until they complete those programs. That neglectful behavior can involve leaving a child with an inappropriate caretaker, leaving the child alone, taking care of the child but being too inebriated to really be able to care for the child if there was a problem. That's a very typical scenario for us.
There's several entities involved when a child is abused or neglected, but CASA specifically speaks directly to the court for the child. It expresses the child's interests, child's fears, desires, and just a voice where it would not otherwise be heard.
In a case that I get, I might have two children that are in an abusive home. So I visit mom, I visit dad if there is one, wherever he is. I certainly visit the children on a regular basis. If they're in school, I visit the teachers. If there are psychiatrists involved, I visit with them. I certainly talk to social services, who are the main people here. I consider myself sort of an arm of the social service group. These gals carry 20 cases sometimes. I carry 3 maybe.
One of the more difficult cases I had, and it went for 5 years, with three little boys who eventually were taken away from their mother. That I would say is the equivalent of the death sentence in the criminal system. But the fact is that I maybe recommended it before 5 years. And as it came out, I sleep well at night. Those children are better off today than if they had stayed in that atmosphere.
But 800 kids in 13 years. We've had about 170 advocates during that time, and we have provided over 40,000 hours of community service. Well, without our community, Colonial CASA would not exist. The community provides support to CASA in the way of volunteers, certainly, but the community also provides support to Colonial CASA financially. And in today's times, when governments are experiencing the same recession that we are, we can count less on stable funds from that direction. We have to count on stable funds from our community.